I hope you enjoyed your coffee break, and I think it's time now to move on to the next panel discussion. And as we gather once again, I'm delighted to introduce my fellow colleague, Alexia Tasouli, diplomatic correspondent, for the moderation of the discussion. So, Alexia, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yanni, Mr. Mouchos, for excellent organizing the whole event yesterday and tomorrow, and of course, Ms. Moropoulou. So, good afternoon. As you heard, my name is Alexia Tasouli. I'm a diplomatic correspondent covering international affairs. And our next panel of discussion will involve three key words: innovation, green, and digital transition. We will focus on innovation because we believe that innovation is essential for achieving a successful green and digital transition. We will discuss the cutting-edge technology, sustainable practices, and businesses and communities who can foster resilience and reduce environmental impact. So it's an honor for me to welcome Ms. Phoebe Koundouri, who is Chairwoman of World Council of Environmental and Natural Resources Economists Association. She's also chair of Global Climate Hub SDSN. She's also professor of Athens University of Economics and Business. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I would like also to welcome Ms. Margarita Karavassili, who is a former Special Secretary of Environmental and Energy Inspectors at Hellenic Ministry of Environment and Energy. She's a planner architect, and she's the member of the Board of Directors at EcoCity. Good afternoon. It's an honor for me to welcome also Ms. Betty Haralambopoulou, who is the CEO President of Geosystems and last Director of the European Association of Remote Sensing Companies. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Ms. Kleos Gouropoulou, who is Professor of Department of Computer Engineering and member of the Government Council of UNIWA. Good afternoon. And it's an honor for us that Ms. Dominique Delporte, who is the art curator, she is available to join us to the panel. Thank you so much, all the ladies. And we're ready to start. Before we start with the presentation of Ms. Koundouri, I think we are ready to listen to a video of Mr. Stratos Simopoulos, who is the chairman of the Special Permanent Committee on Research and Technology of the Hellenic Parliament. Mr. Simopoulos wasn't able to be with us, but he sent us his speech.
It is with great pleasure that I address the proceedings of Women's Economic Forum. Unfortunately, my obligations as chairman of the Special Permanent Committee on Research and Technology of the Greek Parliament in Oslo prevent me from being among you in person. The topic of the meeting is particularly interesting and current. It is important to recognize that women have always been key contributors to the economic and social fabric of societies. However, in recent years, we have seen a powerful and much needed shift. Women are no longer just participants in the economy. They are leading forces driving innovation, growth, and sustainable progress on a global scale. Women have demonstrated a profound ability to combine economic success with social responsibility. As chairman of the Special Permanent Committee on Research and Technology of the Hellenic Parliament, I am in contact with many women entrepreneurs and scientists. A typical example was the innovation competition for women's business groups, startups organized by the Athens Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Athens Startup Business Incubator. During this competition, I had the opportunity to interact with very important business women and scientists, not really innovative projects, such as specialized programs for the elderly, research and production of sustainable building materials, biomedicine, green technology, eye tracking, etc. The emerging challenges that all states have to deal with are climate crisis, green transition, circular economy, food self-sufficiency, and applications of artificial intelligence. If we want to meet the challenges, it is necessary to form a framework for the transfer of technology to society. Innovation is the ultimate solution. Although Greece is at the EU average in research, it falls significantly behind in innovation. Regarding the Greek innovative framework, the Greek government is moving in this direction, giving strong incentives for the cooperation of universities and research centers with the private sector, financing interest-free or even subsidizing the patents, financing and supporting startups without backing criteria, breaking free from bureaucracy in the research innovate program, etc. However, we cannot overlook the barriers that still exist. Women around the world continue to face systemic challenges, from limited access to capital to gender biases in the workplace to a lack of representation in key decision-making roles. Greek government policies that address these constraints include implementing legal reforms that make laws more equitable for women, reducing financial and labor market discrimination, and creating a more gender-friendly business environment. By empowering women to take on leadership roles in economic and sustainable development, we are fostering the innovation, collaboration, and sustainability needed for a more prosperous world for all. As chairman of the Special Permanent Committee on Research and Technology of the Hellenic Parliament, please accept my best wishes for a very successful forum.
That was Mr. Stratos Simopoulos. He's a very important member of the parliament, and he also stressed in his speech that women nowadays do not have a supporting role, but they are a significant force in the international work environment. And after his speech, now we're ready to listen to Ms. Phoebe Koundouri with her presentation.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. I am always very happy to be here. I am grateful to Professor Moropoulou for inviting me, and I am extremely honored to share a panel with all these dynamic and impactful ladies, most of whom I know for many years. So what I'm gonna argue in this presentation, in this speech, is that innovation is crucial for the sustainability transformation. The sustainability transformation is crucial for our survival, and innovation is crucial for the sustainability transformation. And it is important to understand that innovation is not just technological innovation. We are also referring, when we talk about innovation, to social innovation, financial and fiscal innovation, governance innovation, and of course, technological innovation. It's quite important to be clear on that because we need different forms of innovation in order to succeed. I won't spend much time on this because you already know that we are in a multi-crisis. We have low economic growth, shrinking fiscal spaces, inflationary pressures, and 1/3 of the countries in this world are at the brink of default. So a major economic crisis leading to voices demanding a change of the underlying economic model. And combined with this, of course, we have the climate crisis, the destabilization of the climate that translates into increased frequency and severity of extreme weather events that translate into disruption of economic activity, loss of infrastructure, and of course, loss of life. And then we have the biodiversity crisis, the collapse of the ecosystem, which is crucial and significant because we use ecosystem services, we use natural capital in all of our production and consumption activities. And of course, coupled with increasing inequalities in income and accessibility between the global north and the global south, but also within countries, the population crisis, all this leads to geopolitical pressures. And we are experiencing the effects of geopolitical pressures. And in 2015, we have decided that the way out of this crisis is the UN Agenda 2030, 17 goals, 4 about the ecosystems, environmental, natural ecosystems, 8 about the society, 4 about the economy, and 1, the last one, regarding the collaboration for the goals. So, first point. We have a blueprint, and this is not an environmental agenda. This is an interactive agenda between nature, economy, and society. And most of the goals are focused on the economy and the society. Second point, this is a holistic, integrated, systems-based agenda that you need lots of innovation to even start thinking about implementing this. And this is what I'm going to show in my work later on. And quickly, because I don't have a lot of time. So I founded and lead the Alliance of Excellence for Research and Innovation in Sustainability, 18 years in UK universities, the rest of the 30 years that it exists in Greek universities with collaborations all over the world. We have many research projects under different research labs that I lead or co-lead. We have a lot of work on innovation acceleration, and I'm going to focus on this in the rest of the presentation. A lot of work on science policy interface, and a lot of work with international scientific academies and associations that I lead in or co-lead in an attempt to bring in the best minds to produce the innovation that is needed in order to implement this very integrated, systemic, holistic, science-hectic and data-hectic agenda that we call the Agenda 2030. Now, we all know that each region of the world has transposed this agenda into a policy framework. Without the policy framework, you cannot really achieve implementation. In Europe, we have transposed UN Agenda 2030 into the European Green Deal. And we have a myriad of regulations and laws that make the targets of the European Green Deal explicit and implementable, and they reflect, they mirror the SDGs. Not 100%, but 80% is at least the mirroring effect. And this calculation was published in Nature this year, showing with an AI approach the connection between the European Green Deal and the SDGs, and the same connection, lower in terms of the percentage of connection, can be found in other regional policies. So we know where we want to go is the SDGs, and we have made them explicit in Europe and in other regions with policy frameworks. So we know our targets. What else do we need to know? We need to know where we are. Every year, UN SDSN, the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, a network of 2,000 universities. I lead the European Hub with 900 universities and also the Global Climate Hub of this network. We publish reports that measure. Quantification is crucial. Measure where we are with regards to implementing the SDGs. And the news are not very good because you can see on the slide that we are lagging behind. Red means 50% implementation only. Orange means 60%. Yellow, 70 to 80% implementation. And what we need to do in terms of the slope of the graph at the end of my slide, to get away from the blue projection and get on the green is really a huge acceleration. That is not possible by 2030. But I'm arguing it is possible by 2050. So quantification is important. We know where we are, and this is where we are in terms of goal 9, which is the goal that includes innovation. And you see how little green you get on the map. Green means that you are on track to achieving the goal. And the map below is, so the map above is today, how it measures and quantifies, and the map below is how it will look like by 2030 if we keep the same pace of transformation. And to get into the details of the calculation that I just shown you, each SDG has many targets. So we have 17 SDGs, but we have 169 targets. And looking into the target that has to do with research and innovation, this is now, this is today. This is where research and innovation are on track, and you see that it is mostly US, Canada, parts of Europe, Australia, and China and Japan, and this is where we are going. So you see that the developing world is out of the picture, which is crucially negative, because we cannot transform without the developing world. It is global problems that we are facing. It is the population that is growing, and most of the population in the world is, of course, in China, in India, in Africa. So we cannot move ahead with leaving these places behind. It is impossible. And this is how our systems work. This is the environmental, the natural resource systems. The first one is the food systems, the climate systems, the land use systems, the marine system. You can see many reds here. We are not doing as good as we can. And we can downscale. This is how the European Union looks, Greece looks. I don't have time to go into details. We can even downscale to within Greece in terms of regions, and we can downscale within companies and foundations and universities, and measure where they are, where they need to go, and even construct pathways for companies, for regions, for cities, for countries, for Europe and other regions of the world, and for the world as a whole. So what we do in IFORIA, 250 researchers now, with lots of research funding that we've managed to attract, probably the most successful European team in attracting research funding. What we try to do is to pave the way towards achieving our targets with a firm knowledge of where we are. And in order to construct these pathways from where we quantify our basis through these reports that I've showed you, to reaching our policy targets that are a translation into the reality of the different countries and regions of the world of the SDG agenda, we need to construct the pathways, the optimal mixture of technologies, governance, financial, fiscal, and social solutions that will get us from where we are to where we want to go. And in that, we need a lot of innovation, and I'm going to show you very quickly an example of such innovation for reaching climate neutrality goals by 2050. This is the aim of the Global Climate Hub of UN, and this is a very indicative example of the scale of innovation that is needed in order to be able to suggest to policymakers, to businesses, to financial institutions, to governments, to civil society, how you move from where you are to reaching the targets. The methodology is very innovative, and it has been published in Nature Sustainability last year. So what you need to do is to bring together all the different systems that are relevant here. So in the first green layer, you need to downscale the climate scenarios, simulate or optimize the energy models, the transport models, the land use models, the marine use models, the health system models, and then integrate all of these in impact assessment models that bring in the socioeconomics. And this is the science, the interdisciplinary systems integrating science. But you need to check every step of the way of implementing these mathematical scientific models and integrate them. You need to check your approaches, your parameters, your assumptions, your solutions with the stakeholders. So there is another layer that is intradisciplinary, where you invite the stakeholders to co-design with you and co-share the pathways and become shareholders of the implementation of the pathways. And in order to do that, you also need to reskill, upskill, and educate the stakeholders, because these are such innovative frameworks. The integration is so innovative. It needs a lot of technological innovation, governance innovation, social, fiscal, and financial innovation that is very difficult to find in the labor market, in the civil society. And at the same time, you save all of this in an AI-based digital data platform and application, because you need to have the data, you need to update the data, you need to be able to make open access all of the models, the solutions, and the designed pathways. Open science, open access, and continuous training. I'm not going to go into the details, but if you do that, you have energy models, optimal sourcing of energy across Europe and the green corridors. You have land use models and marine use models that tell you how you can achieve food security, climate targets, biodiversity targets in each and every country. What is the combination of changes that you have to implement in agriculture, in forestry, how they connect with the remote sensing information that you have, how they connect with the energy models. So you have to connect the energy models with the land use models, with the food systems models, with the forestry models, and at the same time care about the coastal and marine and the interface between land use and marine, and integrate that, and also not care only about mitigation, is adaptation as well, is resilience. So models of how do you handle the extreme events, their effects. Here's a model that showcases after a forest fires how you should handle the forthcoming floods. and what are the cost and benefits of intervening compared to the cost and benefits of not intervening. So you have to calculate and quantify all this and monetize all this in order to have them in a cost-benefit analysis. And a monetization means that you are able to put a value not just to produce capital, not just to human capital, which derives from wages in the labor market, but also to natural capital, and make them explicit in cost-benefit analysis, in your impact assessment accounts, and in your GDP reporting. So a lot is needed here, and integrate into financially and fiscally innovative systems in order to be able to finance the pathways. So it's not enough to know what technologies you are going to use in the different energy, land use, marine use system, health system. You also need to make explicit who is going to finance the implementation of these technologies and who is going to support the transition of the innovative technologies to the market. So there are financial innovation that can derive from work in general equilibrium analysis, and there is also the huge issue of financial innovation and restructuring the financial architecture of the world in order to be able to streamline resources to the global south. Low interest rates, long-run loans for SDG investments. If you want to create growth, you need to go to a less developed country and get each and every kid at school. If you manage that, in the next 20 years, starting from the 7th year onward, you will achieve growth rates to the magnitude of 6 and 7%. You cannot hope to have such growth rates in a developed country. Maximum is 3. And as I said, we firmly support innovation. These are 3 of our accelerators. We also work very closely with the UN FCCC accelerator. And these accelerators are part of the UN FCCC accelerator. The first focuses on climate adaptation, spin-offs and startups. We have 130 of them. The second focuses on startups and spin-offs that are relevant for the transition of shipping to climate neutrality and climate resilience. And the third one is an accelerator relevant to all innovations that can help the sustainability transition of the Black Sea. For example, the Innovator Brigade Connect brings together 130 startups, and it creates an ecosystem where the startups, the problem owners, usually states, local authorities, cities, municipalities, can find solutions to their problems. They can be guided with regards to solutions to their problem. And at the same time, we have the funders, the financiers coming in to choose which startups they want to support with further VC funding. And we have articulated everything in terms of hazards, areas, solutions, technology, TRL levels, and the idea is that the problem owners, the funders, and the technology developers, and again, here we have technologies, as I showed, that are technological innovations, but also social, financial, and governance innovations. The Maena Maritime Accelerator is about shipping. It's a big consortium under EIT, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, led by Athena Research Center, my unit, Sustainable Development Unit, and the and other universities, another 2 universities, one in Cyprus and one is Israel, focusing on startups and spin-offs on climate neutrality. And here we have priorities relevant to low carbon energy, new ships designs, energy efficiency, logistics, monitoring, zero waste, adaptation, and finishing new business models, skills, and training. And of course, there are many startups. Again, here, the wave of these years was about 40 startups. They are all in this presentation, and you can look into them in case you are interested. And finally, let me just say that it is important not just to accelerate the technology, not just to do the science, the integrated system science. All of these are innovations. But one crucial innovation that is there to be proven that we implement is to co-design with the stakeholders. We work in 120 countries. No solution has ever been implemented without the stakeholders being co-designers and co-owners, shareholders of the solution. And it is important to understand that in order to engage the stakeholders, all of them, the politicians, the policymakers, the businesses, the financial institutions, the civil society, you have to educate them. They don't know what you're talking about, most of them. They don't have all the skills. They cannot keep up with the pace of innovation that is needed. So what is needed here is a serious wave of upskilling and reskilling. And what we presented in the previous COP in Dubai is a report that shows that 85% of the skills that we need in order to implement the already voted for laws and regulations of the European Green Deal are not yet in the European market. On that note, I thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much for your analytical presentation, excellent presentation with many, many details. Now I call on stage Ms. Margarita Karavasili for her presentation.
Sorry, can I interrupt?
Of course, yes, of course. Ms. Delporte. Yes.
Because of the schedule. So thank you very much for this more than holistic overview of all the challenges that we are facing today. Let me present myself first. I am a strategic and innovation management professor. Had a dual career, always bridging corporate academics and the ecosystem of startups and scale-ups. So innovation has been in the heart of my career for more than 35 years. The nature of innovation is changing, whereas in the digital area, where we talk about digital connections, digital networks, e-commerce possibilities, now we are shifting towards a deep tech era. And the deep tech era is a very, very interesting, disruptive era in that sense that we see newcomers coming up, changing and disrupting the status quo of the, I would say, the economy, in that sense that deep tech technology is a blending of several technologies, but the character of the company who does that because of a purpose, I would say a purpose of sustainability, a purpose aligned to the SDG goals. So for example, they try to come up with a solution to tackle poverty. They try to come up with a solution to tackle climate change. They come up with a solution to tackle social injustice globally. So that's the point that I wanted to make. I had the opportunity yesterday to meet with your deputy minister, Zoetzapi, talking about the development and what is going on at the moment in Greece. I met the Greek ecosystem. I have been listening to what they were saying to me about the challenges and the hurdles they have to overcome. But I also discovered a lot of pride and drive at the younger generations to make really a change. So as the global chair for humanities, technology and innovation, we advocate and we set up digital literacy programs to make sure that the next generation is upskilled and reskilled. for the technologies and the challenges, social challenges that are coming, because this is a transformative technology that's coming up. So it will transform everything. It will transform our governance systems, our legal frameworks, the way we work, the way we participate, the way we want to be treated. And we want to make sure that the female voice is going to be heard in that sense, that it is not because you don't have an affinity with STEM education, which means science, technology, engineering, and mechanics, that you don't have to speak up. Because in the new era of deep tech, it is all about the multidisciplinary approach to these problems, because they are too complex to find just a technological solution or just a social solution. It is about the blending. So I'm very happy and honored to be here at the first Women Economic Forum Greece, and have been the possibility to be invited by the European Innovation Council yesterday at the National Bank of Greece, where we try already at the European level to bring funds together. And I must say I was very pleased to find out that there is also a female representation coming up in this ecosystem and making sure that their voice is heard. So if you're a woman and in your local community, please try to spread the word and the message that women have a future, that women can create influence and power by just acting as a mentor, as an angel investor, as an investor or co-investor in a startup or a scale-up, so that we can shape ourselves together, also the future society, and put the boundaries there where they are needed to make the world human, safe, and equitable. So thank you very much, and I wish you a great debate, tackling all these challenges.
Thank you, Dominique, for your intervention and for the opportunity to be with us in the panel. Thank you so much. And you give me the best opportunity now, before we listen to the next speaker, to listen to a video of Ms. Maria Louisidou, who is a professor of emeritus, member of the General Assembly at the Technical Chamber of Greece. Thanks. She has some very significant remarks based on what you said before. Let's listen to her. Merci.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The EU has set in 2015 ambitious goals for circular economy, followed by Green Deal. We consume and waste a lot of materials, resources. Europe needs 3 times more imports of goods compared to the exports. This is not sustainable and things need to be changed. We need to abandon the linear model where we take resources, produce, use, throw as waste. We as citizens play a vital role in this, since we are the producers of the daily waste. A separate collection at source of our household waste can contribute to the reuse, recycling of waste and create the secondary raw materials that industry needs. This means less fossil fuel will be used and hence less emission to the atmosphere, mitigating climate change. Along with circularity is a bioeconomy. We need to use bio-waste, biomass to produce our products. Also, this means that we can gradually replace the petroleum refineries with biorefineries. Instead of using fossil fuels to manufacture most of the products we use today, we can use waste of biological origin to obtain the equivalent products. EU has invested huge amount of resources to be able to create innovative processes and products to meet the required targets of the Green Deal and circularity. United Nations have also set the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and all countries should work to meet these goals. Collaboration at international level is necessary in order to achieve the set targets, foster and countries can exchange knowledge on the innovative solutions. The climate change is happening and there is a need to replace fossil fuels with green fuels such as sustainable aviation fuels, maritime fuels, transportation fuels in general. The international collaboration for innovative solutions is a must. Another big issue, water scarcity is knocking on our doors. at global level, the world experiences a severe and growing shortage of drinking water. 1.8 billion people do not have access to clean water. 28% of world's population drinks contaminated water. 55% increase of water demand is expected by 2050. 7 billion of people will face water shortage by 2050. In Europe, things are not better. 38% of the EU population has been affected by limited water availability in 2019. 9 billion euros the cost of drought in 2019. 30% of the EU population has been affected by limited water availability in recent years. Of course, we will say that we can desalinate and get water, but where do we throw the brines, the concentrate after desalination? This material has a double amount of solids which, when disposed, have a very negative impact to the ecosystem and biodiversity. United Nations and the EU realize that there is a huge problem there that needs to be addressed. I could not be with you today for a reason. The problem of salinity of water is hitting Poland severely, and I'm coordinating a European project for that. Poland is the dominant producer of hard coal, providing 95% of the needs of Europe, 57 million tons a year. To get this coal, the level of extraction is down to 1 kilometer. Layers of solid water are found and mixed together, creating very dense brines, 8% solids, dissolved solids. These brines are pumped to the surface and finally disposed to the rivers and lakes. The rivers are degraded and the water cannot be used for agriculture, industry, or as a drinking water. So we are trying to implement innovative and cost-effective solutions to minimize the impact. Coal mines are gradually closing down due to CO2 emissions, but still these brines will be there for the years to come. There is a need to reverse this phenomenon. Only collaborations that bring innovative solutions can handle this situation. Human resources with highly skilled people and financial resources are required. Digitization is a strong tool to bring the interested parties together. The creation of IT platforms supported by artificial intelligence can serve as means of communication between the various stakeholders, technology providers, problem owners, databases and data analytics models, to name few. In other words, a form of communication to solve problems, to reach circularity, to protect the environment with a target to make our planet green. Thank you very much for your attention.
Sorry, thank you. And now we're ready to listen to the presentation of Ms. Karavasili. You can sit here. Yeah, of course. No.
Good morning. I'm very, very glad to be with you. Thank you very, very much, Tonya, for the invitation. So, let's start speaking about the words green, digital, transition. Let's talk about a focus on the vision. But before, I would like to say that gender has to be at the heart of the agenda for green transition. Climate change is one of the defining challenges of our time, and women are disproportionately vulnerable to do and how they have an important role in addressing it. So, without vision, nothing is possible. The vision for Europe, after the holistic approach you have done, dear Phoebe, I go in Europe and Greece to see the challenges we have before us. So the vision is a fair and inclusive green transition towards climate neutrality to complement, sorry, to find, here is, to complement the package on delivering the Green Deal together with digital transition, where women involvement is essential for achieving sustainable development goals. The twin, green and sustainable digital transition, are political priorities of the European Commission, focused on a carbon-neutral EU by 2050, and they can reinforce each other. Okay, the transition. What is the meaning of green and sustainable digital transition? Transition equal transformation. So, green transition and symbiotic digital transition mean rethinking the way we design, the way we develop, produce, market and distribute goods and services across all sectors of the economy. It means, between others, the replacement of fossil fuel technology and the demise of industries like coal mining or petroleum extraction dependent on them. Green transition is all about shifting our systems and practices towards sustainability. This involves reducing greenhouse gas emissions, increasing the use of renewable energy, and promoting eco-friendly practices across all sectors. Think of it as a massive push to ensure our planet remains habitable for future generations. However, so now the meaning of green and sustainable digital transition. Digital transition, on the other hand, is the integration of digital technologies into all aspects of life. It includes adopting new technology. This includes also promoting energy efficiency data centers, sustainable manufacturing processes, and eco-friendly digital products. It is also important and necessary to give incentives using sustainable digital technology. That means we have to encourage the development and adoption of digital technologies that have a low environmental impact. However, sometimes the two transitions can also clash. Digitalization uses electricity, and many digital technologies are resource-intensive and create waste. Unintended consequences can crop up, such as owners of hybrid cars driving more because it is cheaper. Teleworking could cut office space, but could lead to employers building separate working rooms at home and heating or cooling more space than if they were in the office. To make the most out of the twin transition, proactive and integrative management will be needed. The digital transition will be spearheaded mainly by the private sector due to its huge economic potential. To harness its benefits for greening and to limit its harmful effects, state and civil society engagement will be necessary. To make green and digital transition successful, it is necessary to take into consideration several critical factors, such as clear policy and regulations, public and private investment, education and training for new types of jobs that arise from these transitions, collaboration between different sectors, government, business, academia, and civil society, public awareness and social engagement for involving the public in these transitions, technological advancement in both green and digital technologies, resilience and adaptability to new challenges, scalability for a meaningful impact through the expansion of successful pilot projects. So, green cloud and green data centers, that is the new mode. the Commission is exploring measures to improve the energy efficiency and the circular economy performance in cloud computing data centers. Digital technology can offer green solutions to different sectors of the economy. The development of the green public procurements criteria for data centers, for server rooms and cloud services shall help public authorities to ensure that data centers, equipment, and services are procured in such a way that they deliver environmental improvements that contribute to European policy objectives for energy, for climate change and resource efficiency, as well as reducing the life cycle cost. The EU is pursuing a human-centered, sustainable vision for digital society through the digital decade to empower citizens and business. What is the digital decade? It's a comprehensive framework that shall guide all actions in Europe related to digital, aiming at ensuring all aspects of technology and innovation work for people. I go furthermore because I have not time to see European Digital Decade and Electrification Action Plan. What is that? In order to promote clean energy, it is very important to implement the EU Electrification Action Plan. It's a very innovative action plan that ensures the industrial transition powered by a green energy system, and also promote the dedicated clean energy investment strategy for Europe, which will help to prioritize the investments in clean energy infrastructure, including for hydrogen. Because the energy sector accounts for 55% of EU greenhouse gases emissions, and its successful transition is the key to delivering the European Green Deal objectives. The European Green Digital Coalition also, it's a very important strategy, has released science-based methodology and guidance to measure the impact of digital solutions in reducing and avoiding greenhouse gases emissions across different sectors. Also, the regulation of eco-design requirements for servers and data storage is also very important, and limit the environmental impact of these products with a set of rules on energy efficiency, such as minimum efficiency of the power supply unit and minimum server efficiency in active state, maximum consumption, etc. To conclude, our scope, our vision is to go towards climate-neutral cities. That means that we have to improve circular economy practices, also in the construction sector, key to increasing material reuse and give high-quality recycling. Build green infrastructure improvements is necessary to have resilient cities. We have to minimize urban heat island effect to make our cities more viable. Build green infrastructure improvements, trees and shade structure, green roofs and walls, painting roofs white, cooler streets and pavements, water feature, ventilation. Because the circularity, a circular economy, goes towards circular cities. Cities with zero CO emissions, cities zero waste. And for that, renovation of worst performing buildings is a big priority. The renovation wave strategy as part of the European Green Deal and the revised energy performance of buildings, it is the base of the climate neutral cities by 2030 by and for their citizens, and follow also the strategy of new Bauhaus strategy. It contains an action plan with concrete regulation, financing, and enabling measures to boost building renovation. The strategy aims to at least double the annual energy renovation rate of buildings by 2030 and foster deep renovations. Also, the new buildings of tomorrow will be circular, sustainable buildings, buildings zero CO2. And finally, the most important, and that is the biggest challenge of this period, is the reducing of new extraction of material. Is circular economy in the waste, in the cycle of waste. Improving circularity in materials will help reduce the total emissions in the building sector. Concrete, for instance, and cement circularity could allow industry to rein in costs and reduce emissions, aiding untapped value to the built environment. And that's a big program for the few years now that EcoCity try to promote and discuss with important organizations in Europe like ECOS and here in Greece. Construction and demolition waste makes up just over 1/3 of total waste generation in the EU. Europe's construction sector will need to be even more ambitious in its waste management practices if it is to fully embrace Europe's circular economy. And all that is the big challenges of our period if we want to make towards green transition, a fair for everybody green transition. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much. Yes, I will have follow-up questions later from the audience. Now move on to Ms. Betty Haralabopoulou for her presentation.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank Tonia Moropoulou for the invitation and also to congratulate the whole team that have organized this today's symposium. I'm Betty Haralabopoulou. I'm the president of Geosystems Hellas, but in this panel today, I will mostly act as a part of merging research and innovation to applications and to the market. I would like to say that I'm here from the position of being director of the European Association of Remote Sensing Companies, a representative from ERSC to the GeoPost25 working group, which is the working group, the UN working group that merges artificial intelligence with geoinformation and imagery and gives information on geointelligence, which shall be a value in the transition, digital, green, and blue transition all over the world. This started from my side several years ago as being part of a Greek association, the Hellenic Association of Space Industries and the Greek Space Cluster. And also has been following the ISO working group team for downstream standardization for space services and space-based applications. So what we see from that position, because we start, of course, from research, in order that this research drive us to innovation, is to, at the end, use all those technologies and go to the Earth intelligence. Earth intelligence is what can provide an image and let's say oldest people are usually saying that an image is more than 1,000 words and can provide targeted and actionable insight based on Earth observation data that it's co-created with users and enables them to make better informed decisions for a more sustainable world. This is the result of what we tried to post in Geneva in UN in November 23 by our working post-25 strategy white paper. This is an image that everybody has seen in the TV in this August. It's an image that shows that downstream space applications means image coming from space, but also by using artificial intelligence tools can give us a result. It's something that it's not brand new. We see it in the TV the last years, and shows that those images can give us information for the real world. Means that downstream space application is not only innovation and research, it's also application. And this application can drive us to a better future. But okay, this is not a nice image because it has to do with a fire here very close to Athens. And this affected a lot of people, affected the land, affected the atmosphere with pollution, affected the biodiversity, affected the well-being of the citizens. So it's a circle of a lot of aspects that all this circle affects our life. I'm going to go to something more, let's say, more focusing on the today panel, which is how European Union would like to see the energy on a clear priority with commitments by 2030. So European Union, and this is proven, would like to see green use, mean renewable sources from wind, from the sun, from hydro, and biomass renewable energy. And this is something also downstream space technologies embraced. Copernicus, which is the European program of the Earth observation monitoring, is, of course, cutting-edge technology between the space applications and artificial intelligence, can give very good information on how the solar, the wind energy, and any kind of renewable energy, including biomass or water, or energy coming from dams, means water subjects, can be monitored, can be manageable, and can give economic growth and development also not only to Europe, but worldwide. Europe requires mechanism, and those mechanisms shall help decision-making processes. And downstream space application is a digital method that is transparent because the image comes from a satellite, so the raw image cannot be manipulated because the truth, it's always truth there. And by using this, we can help with all this digital innovation with machine learning and deep learning tools, the decision-making processes. And this is a real transformation. It's a real transformation that, in cooperation with the regions, because it's very important, the cooperation with the regions and the countries, can give us a sustainable future. This is just a screenshot how European Energy and Climate Data Explorer is measuring the climate data over Europe and, of course, over Greece, and how valuable and time-scale view we can have of the climate change and the energy systems. Climate change is expected to affect also the supply and demand on energy. It's vital that energy providers and policymakers have the proper information in order to make informed choices on the future. And because we are in between two wars, those two wars affects the energy, means that the war in Ukraine and the war in Israel, for sure, we will see in front of us those effects. It's very, very important to well plan the energy sector by providing the proper information in a regional and national level in order that we go to a sustainable future. And it's not only the methodologies. Space is a tool, artificial intelligence is a tool, but also the citizen engagement, it's very important. Space can give a tool that when we have a coffee in the coastline, we don't see from the cafeteria the wind park area, because this is not part of the well-being of the citizen. So we have to get in consideration the spatial planning by using all these tools and the social innovation on making renewable energy landscapes sustainable for Europe. For Greece, of course, this will give us extra strength because we are a country that we have wind, we have sun, and also we can use also the water for having also offshore establishments in a sustainable way, means with a good spatial planning. This is let's say, the big picture of the future of the country. It's a big picture because since some months, Greece have been deeply involved in the innovation of the space technologies. Via the Ministry of Digital Transformation in Greece and European Space Agency, we have moved to a new program with the Greek CubeSats and the Greek microsatellites, which will be hosting in a governmental hub services. Those services will monitor land use, land change, which is very, very important of Earth intelligence. Will monitor also and help the urban environment in order to have lower city emissions, green transition and greenness in a city, lower heat, urban heat, and also because we are in Greece and we suffer, first of all, from earthquakes, but also from the climate change, will monitor deformation. Means earth movements that can occur and from the earthquakes, but also from the climate change. And all those will be out in a marketplace. This marketplace will help the real estate, the tourism, and will help the sustainable development of the country. So I'm very happy because, okay, space for Greece, it was something not touchable the years before, but now I see a future, and I see also growth, means new jobs for new engineers, in order to have something more sustainable. We are one of the European countries that we are suffering to make a cadastral available since late 90s, and I think this possibility with this program will give a new strength to the country, a new strength that, of course, will give growth.
So I see this long-term financial viability and the implementation of effective and robust resource efforts to this success. I see that, of course, our cities can be more sustainable because will be daily monitored, and those will be freely available, means that this will be open data. So our livelihoods can be better, can be greener, can be more sustainable, can have water sufficiency, energy sufficiency, and we can have monitor on the biodiversity and the ecosystems, and of course this is a positive impact on society, especially for Greeks. I would like to say that in similar programs, there are most of the European countries. We come just running after them, but it's a success story, and I think this merges research and innovation to application and to market. By closing, by targeting and actionable insights on Earth observation data, which always we have to have in mind the co-creation with the users, commitment to act on the urgent need to restore the equilibrium between the human race and the planetary health. The first image have shown the planetary health, which was damaged from the fire. Interconnected global challenges, transformation change is essential, because those are global changes, and downstream space is a transformable fact. Earth intelligence is the key. I mean, machine learning, deep learning is everywhere around us, and this unlocks the change through the interdisciplinary and intergenerational collaboration, because also new people are playing with that. We have seen a lot of interest the last 1.5 years from new entrepreneurs giving applications to the European Space Agency BIC. It's a new entrepreneurs incubator. One more point, in my view: equity in representation, equity in access to Earth intelligence, and equity in shaping the outcomes. I mean, women must be there. Earth intelligence aligns with the digital age, fostering economic growth and development. And by closing here, I would like once more to thank you for being with us in this room.
Thank you so much, Ms. Haralapoulou. So we are on time so far, so as we're moving to the end, we'll have time to take from you a couple of questions. But first, we'll listen to our last but not least speaker, Ms. Cleo Zgouropoulou.
Okay, thank you very, very much. It's really an honor to be here, and I want to thank our organizers, Mrs. Moropoulou, and all this beautiful event would give us the opportunity of us women to gather together here and share all these most important actions and innovations that we are sure that we want to contribute to our country, to transform, and to become better in the senses of all these interactions and sciences. So we've heard a lot of things here today, and from people that are in the core of Europe and all these actions and projects. So I would like to offer my presentation in shaping out some of the notable things that we have heard, to make a summarization, and also offer a view of a project that is being carried out towards, I think, the heart of all that we've seen right now, towards resilience, inclusion, and development for just green and digital transition in Greek regions. So I will offer, again, an example of what is happening currently in Greek regions with a focus on the twin transition, which we think it is really important for our age and for combining all these challenges that we've seen, either in the green transition or the digital transition. So here, I will make a very short overview because we've listened to most of the facts that shape the twin transition, just some points about the synergies and tenses that are really important for us for shaping our green and digital future. And then I will present an emblematic project that we've been carrying out the last year with some of the most important research centers in Greece, the National Center for Social Research, the National Observatory of Athens, the Athens Center, and the Hellenic Center for Marine Research. And this also includes two universities, my University of West Attica and the International University of Greece. Okay. So we've seen by the former speakers what the digital and green transition mean for our societies at European level, and what are the policy frameworks, strategies that have been created in order to foster this kind of transition and transformation. So these two transformations are currently being at the top of the EU's policy agenda, and as we've heard, their success is crucial for achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So their interaction will have enormous consequences for the future. So the twin transition, being at the top of the political agenda, it's imperative for us to consider how these two trends will interact and what are the possible tension points between them. And this is very essential because these transitions are dynamic and they are happening independently of one another. So we need to reach a point where to understand what the good and problematic things are in order to create this kind of changes, transformation, and amplification of their good results into societies. So digital technologies, of course, play a key role in achieving the climate neutrality. We've heard about this, reducing pollution and restoring our biodiversity. And on the other hand, the pursuit of green transition will also transform the digital sector. So these can be two synergies that can amplify the results of science and innovation and what the two transformations have to offer in our societies. There are, however, very significant tensions between the two. For example, and some numbers to what we've heard before, today the ICT sector accounts for 5 to 9% of electricity use, which is really huge, and more than 2% of global greenhouse gas emissions are due to the digital use in the ICT sector, and this is as much as all air traffic. And if this remains unchecked, the ICT footprint could increase to 14% of global emissions by 2040. So we understand that if our digital technologies do not become more energy efficient, their widespread use will increase energy consumption. So this is a very important aspect of tension between the two transitions. Further tensions will arise regarding electronic waste, environmental footprint of digital technologies. So shaping the twin transition means that we're shaping digital transformation in a climate-friendly way, and also, on the other hand, harnessing the potential of digital technologies to achieve digital goals is also another point which is very important for having these two transitions go hand by hand. So we need sustainable digital technologies. We have heard about the challenge of efficient data centers, about climate neutral electronic communications by 2030. Circular electronics initiative is another very important initiative in order to have durability and repairability and not much electronic waste. Low power processors and software and artificial intelligence algorithms is also very important, as we see the huge impact, the huge use of AI, even for common purposes, like, for example, the use of ChatGPT being so widely used, it creates huge needs of energy. And the contribution of digital technology to climate neutrality, which involves the digitalization of processes, the creation of what we call digital twins, so the way to be able to predict processes and products before these are actually being created, and being able to monitor their creation. We have anticipation and prediction and modeling, all these important things that we've heard before. So the digital technologies for twin transition give us the opportunity, apart from foundational technologies, to have new enabling technologies like the geotechnologies that we've heard, cloud, 5G, blockchain, augmented reality, but also decision-making technologies like the digital twins, the AI and machine learning, and sensing and control technologies. So we have all this entire ecosystem to help us in this twin transition. What are the key sectors for application? These are set by the European Union. First of all, the one key sector is the energy, of course, digitalization, the transport, the industry, to make climate neutral industry, to green the buildings through digitalization, and to create smarter and greener agriculture. So the requirements to make this twin transition, of course, as we heard before, is not only the aspect of technology or the aspect of environment, but also the social, economical, and political aspects. So here, the critical requirements for the twin transition is to strengthen, first of all, the social and economic cohesion during the transition. So workers and businesses and sectors and regions need support. They need inclusion, and they need personalized support and incentives to adapt. The social dialogue, the investments in quality jobs, and the early development of partnerships between public employment services, unions, industry, and educational institutions are crucial. And being representing here an educational institution, I need to say that during the last years, and the law framework has given us the opportunity to progress towards internationalization and innovation. So currently within the Greek universities, we have technology transfer office, we have the opportunity to create spin-offs and startups, we have the opportunity to create innovation hubs and, enter and bridge the research we are doing with the innovation ecosystem, which is really important. Also, the twin transition will bring about radical changes in the EU labor market and the related skills. And of course, mapping transition requires adequate and reliable monitoring frameworks. So these are the areas, and what we do in this emblematic project, which is a 5 million project, one of the 8 emblematic projects that were initiated by the General Secretariat of Research and Innovation. It's an ambitious project that actually focuses on all these 5 aspects that are targeted as key constituents of the problem of the twin transition. So Just Ready, the project, tries first of all to evaluate the current situation in Greece. So we are doing very explicit actions in all Greek regions. We've started by the evaluation of current situation, recording opinions, attitudes, values, and orientations, behavioral predispositions of the general public and specific social groups. This is a huge work because we have started a nationwide research with collection and analysis of primary data, processing of secondary data, in order then to provide support and technological solutions that will be available for the entire public and all Greek regions and the government. So together, we are trying to leverage former technological achievements and integrate new, the ones that for creating a digital portal with mapping and data to assist the targeted policy measures. Because here, what we intend to do, not only measuring the public opinions and bringing technological solutions together, but to address the content of public policies. We have the frameworks, we have the resources and funding from the European Union, but we need to bring them down to the Greek reality, to create our own frameworks, fundings, and resources in order to be able to leverage all this in the correct way and towards the correct directions. One example of this, you've seen all the sectors that are important for the European Union, but we have our own important sectors that we targeted here in this group, was targeted in the first panel discussion, which is tourism. So one thing that we have to see is our own priorities here for the Greek regions and try to implement and foster with policy making, explicit policy making and funding support to the sectors that are important for Greece. So this is also another thing that we do in this project. What we want with this exercise, the nationwide exercise, is that the digital transformation and the green transition to be achieved under conditions of justice, resilience, sustainable development, and social inclusion. So our implementation methodology is a 2x3x2 approach, meaning that we have the project involving 2 transitions, both green and digital, in 3 sectors, meaning economy, business, individuals, so society, and also policy design and governance. And we have also the 2 dimensions of social impact, meaning positive and negative as well. So this builds a project with 2 pillars, the green pillar, the digital pillar, and also horizontal axis in its implementation architecture in order to be able to foster in the twin transition and its social, economical, and political aspects. And finally, I am concluding with this, our expected results, which will be ready by the end of 2025, will be to have a project that aspires to implement the European and national strategies, better say, to shape also national strategies and create policy proposals for the just, green and digital development transition for the country, for Greece. So what we've heard, we want actually to map them and develop and adapt them for Greece. In 4 sectors, integration of research and innovation into the country's productive fabric, prevention of brain drain, and this involves the reskilling, upskilling of people, the formulation of targeted interventions, specific interventions for skills upgrading, also cultivation of social interest in the twin transition. So we need to raise awareness, to engage people, as we've heard, and we're doing this by living labs, by going to all Greek regions and creating examples of practice in order to bring them with us and show them how this can actually happen and how this can happen in specific regions of Greek, that they have specific disadvantages and disadvantages. So like Macedonia, for example, or the islands, etc., etc. And finally, the identification and formulation of targeted policy proposals that we aspire to provide them to the Greek government in order to tackle the next challenges for the next years. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Now, we have nearly 10 minutes. You can accept questions from you if you have any remarks, any comments on what you heard from the speakers. Any lady, anyone wants to ask any question? No. So I would like to make a conclusion from each one of you. And my question is, what advice or what kind of suggestions you will say to women that want to empower themselves and to focus more on innovation? What your experience has taught you, and you can give your guidelines to women that want to have to become a significant force in the work environment?
First of all, the statistics show very clearly that women are not empowered, that women are very disadvantaged, especially in the global south, but not only. So it is important to know that there is a long way to go towards achieving equity. It is crucial to know that. And it is crucial to understand that the bottleneck is not entering the university or even entering the job market at various industries across the economy. The bottleneck is in the leadership. So how many members of parliament you have? How many prime ministers women have? How many CEOs? How many full professors? And the list goes on, and it is very unequal. So what is important from me throughout the last 30 years that I've been dealing with multilateral institutions, organizations, universities, research ecosystems, research and innovation and policy design ecosystems and implementation ecosystems, is first to be clear that equitable is not yet achieved, then to be clear on what are the targets. The targets are relevant at all levels of somebody's life, women's life, so at the education level, at the job market level, at the household division of labor level, and of course, at the qualitative aspects of all these levels. So it is important to guide women to the education and training streamline that is relevant for the sustainability transition, the green and digital transition, to guide women in all those areas where the big investments are happening and where the future of Europe and the world lies. And if we want to concentrate on Europe, just to give a very firm advice, the future is in renewables and decarbonization, in circular economy, in conservation, protection of biodiversity and nature-based solutions, in e-mobility, in digitalization, which includes digital skills, cutting-edge technologies, digital cutting-edge technologies deployment, and cyber security. And it is important to have a critical mass of women in these aspects of education and training. I'm just concentrating on that. I can speak about all other sectors, but I don't have time. It is important to get them involved there. These are the future of Europe. These are the future of innovation. These are the future of business. We have to empower women towards that.
Thank you so much, Phoebe. Margarita.
Thank you. I will repeat again that the world's women are the key for sustainable development, for peace and for security. And they experience the greatest impacts of climate change, which amplifies existing gender inequalities and pose unique threats to their livelihoods, health, and safety. But women, they don't know it. They don't realize the power that they have. That is very important so to educate, to make more in the level of education. For instance, I'll give you an example, an paradigma. In this moment, I work for such a counselor for environment and climate change in the municipality of New Smyrni. And we have the possibility to organize a big program, education program for women concerning green skills for a sustainable, fair, and equal life, co-funded by the Mediterranean Women's Fund. And during these meetings, we have realized that women, they have not the possibility to give more because they have not the possibility to understand and to be sure that they can, that they have the possibility. Another paradigm example, it's I am a woman engineer, woman architect. It was 30 years before that I start to say, as working in the Ministry of the Environment, I have legislation, I have established legislation concerning bioclimatic buildings, sustainable architecture, sustainable planning, urban and regional planning, etc. It was not easy to speak and change ideas with others, organizations, and especially with men, architects or engineering. Because I was a woman, but it's possible a woman to speak about energy 30 years before. And then, after 20 years, I had the possibility to be General Secretary in the Ministry of the Environment. I have the possibility to sign and to establish legislation. And that it was a very, very good moment because 20 years have passed. And a European Union started to elaborate strategy, new strategy and new strategy. And sustainable development, it was in 1991, after Rio, it was something abstract, completely abstract. Agenda 21 was without equipment, without tools. Step by step, I think that the European Union has helped to establish very, very useful tools in the legislation. But anyway, this legislation, it's not known even in the woman that works inside the ministries, inside the municipalities. We have a very, very difficult work to do to make women understand their power and have the tools to battle and to achieve this program, especially concerning cities, because cities and buildings, women understand better of all what is the life in the city, in a building.
Right.
That is
we
my
definitely have power, Margarita. Thank you so much. Betty.
I will speak more generally. I think that women are great innovators and great entrepreneurs. And I think that, okay, it's true, 30 years ago, the society didn't see women in the same position that as it is now. There are a lot of things that are running in parallel times. But what I see from inside the family and friends and society around me is that what is missing and we have to take care and to strengthen is from early years when women are children in primary school to have same kind of embarrassment as boys, which is something that still in Europe is not very well elaborated. And also I see the same things here in Greece. And also give the mentality to young women that they can achieve via education and via well treatment, they can achieve the best position, which this position can be a CEO in a company, can be member of the parliament, can be mayor of a city, because this can be done. So what is needed is to change the mentality, and to change the mentality from year 03.
Okay, ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Κλειώ.
Yes, I totally agree about what happens first and most important is within the family, so I fully agree and support that. But also what we need to target is the awareness and the support also from our communities. And Greece is not very, I think, strong in this sense, and there are laws and mentalities that exist in Europe, which is our greater family, but are not being followed and established here in Greece. So within societies, we need to do many, many things, but I would like to stress also a factor that we need to be very, very careful about, because now that technology is in huge development, we run also the danger of technological gender discrimination. And this is really, really important, and we will be facing it more and more in the near future. For example, when we have all these AI tools and interaction with tools, for example, like ChatGPT, if we do some experiments, we see there that there is a huge gender discrimination incorporated in patterns and stereotypes. For example, I made this kind of a game with my daughter we had together. So we asked together ChatGPT, okay, hi, I'm a mother of John and Mary. They are twins. And I would like you to tell me some of the everyday things they can do in their time as extra scholar activities. So ChatGPT replied, yes, of course, I can help you. So Mary can go to learn dancing and singing and to take some courses to cook and things like that. And John can go and have some debate lessons and some sports lessons and things like that. So it separated the activities for girls and for boys. So we proceeded and asked the following, and what if, and what if there is an interest in politics without specifying who or specifying the gender? So ChatGPT replied, if John is interested in politics, then he can do this and that and that and that. So, and we proceed in asking, what did you think the question was for John? And then ChatGPT replied, oh, I'm sorry for this mistake. I shouldn't have done this mistake because this is gender discrimination and this is not good, and I will correct myself in the future. So what I want to say about this is now that we don't only have the physical societies, but the digital societies that we're participating in, this is also a thing that we have to tackle, because this is a multiplier effect. And if we don't look about it and we try to eliminate it in the systems, in the algorithms, then it will cause a very huge effect, which will not get things better, but worse for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cleo. You are very professional, all of you, and your speeches were very inspirational and very up to a high level. I would like to thank you all for your remarks and your being here with us in the Women Forum. And we would like to, all of us, to thank Ms. Moropoulou for her excellent organizing this professionally, this event. Thank you all for your attention, and I give back the microphone to Yannis.
Well, thank you very much for being here with us today. It has been really an honor to have you and to listen to you, your personal experiences. And from what I gather, you pinpointed education as a real factor that women need actually to bear in mind from a very early stage. And that was the point that was made yesterday as well. Do not start when you're in university, start at really, on a very early stage. So I would like to take a moment to thank you all for being here and for all of you participating in this event. So may I just invite Ms. Chrysi Tseliou, WEF Steering Committee and Wiki GR Vice President, to present the memorabilia to each one of us, to each one of the participants. Thank you.
ακούσετε τι εσείς. Κυρία Σοφιά, είναι όλες οι κυρίες, είναι της τεχνολογίας και της engineering. Εντός θα μας εξυπηρετήσετε, αλλά μας εκπροσωπήσετε να δω τι θα πούμε. Ευχαριστώ. Τώρα μου μίλαμε στον ελληνικό. Θα τη γνωρίσω. Είναι πάρα πολύ καλή. Τι κάνει το κορίτσι, έδωσε. Ευχαριστημένη είναι.
Ευχαριστημένη.
Πολύ κλιματική αλλαγή ακούω εδώ πέρα.
Εδώ είναι πολύ τεχνικά. Ανυπομονώ να ακούσω εσένα.
Με το καλό να βγουν τα αποτελέσματα.